Coming up next on This Week in Torrance, a group helps end the recession one suit at a time. We'll tell you how they're doing it. Then a columnist stays grounded with a new book. Plus, her soft exterior shields a strong interior. We'll introduce you to a woman with a story that reads like a crime novel. And this student ambassador shares his excitement before a worldwide event. These stories and much more are just seconds away. Your local news starts right now. Hello everyone and welcome to This Week in Torrance. I'm Jin Chen. Ben McCain has the week off. Flying out of LAX's Tom Bradley terminal will get easier, but international flyers are going to pay for it. Construction began this week on the $1.5 billion expansion. Plans call for adding more than 1 million square feet to the terminal. The expansion will be funded primarily by the sales of airport bonds, but will also use fees charged to passengers. This refurbishment has been a long time coming for the 6th busiest airport in the world. LAX is considered as outdated by travelers and the airline industry. In fact, a recent survey placed LAX near the bottom among North America's largest airports. The terminal expansion should be completed by 2013. Well, here are some highlights from the most recent City Council meeting. A representative from the California Center for Public Health Advocacy spoke about healthy eating and active living, especially with regard to childhood obesity. This same organization was instrumental in removing junk food and soda from public schools and adding nutritional information to fast food restaurant menus. The center is asking political leaders to create more programs that support healthy lifestyles. Leader of the council appointed representatives for the Commission on Aging, Library and Traffic appointments. Appointments to the Cable TV Advisory Board and the Civil Service Commission will be made at a later date. And residents had the chance to speak out about the draft of the city's general plan. This most recent draft was approved by council. And remember, next week the City Council will not meet. The next council meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 9th. You're probably familiar with his writing, but maybe not familiar with his face. Fans had the chance to put a face to his words when Daily Breeze columnist John Bogart appeared at the Torrance Historical Society Museum. Reporter Margaret Sharp was there for his book signing.
People use different ways to stay grounded in this crazy world. The way Daily Breeze columnist John Bogart stays grounded is to write. And for 20 years, Bogart has written columns about his daily life that readers can relate to.
They know my children, they know my daughters, they know my son, they know my dogs. And people walk up to me and say, oh, that story you wrote about your dog Clifford was one of the funniest things I've ever read.
Now, 6,000 columns later, Bogart has compiled some of his best work into his new book, aptly titled Grounded.
Putting this thing together was just an amazing, it was about 20 times harder than I thought it would be.
Many of his columns were written about his family, including his 2 daughters.
He's been writing columns about us since we were kids, and finally getting to see some of these columns, since most of them were written when, we weren't even able to read yet.
The immediate assumption is that if your dad's on stage talking about your family, it's embarrassing, but it absolutely isn't. It's funny.
Both daughters came to the Torrance Historical Society to support their father at his recent book signing.
He just has a way of absolutely engaging people, and I was just endlessly impressed, as I usually am. Like, he's my dad, and I'm super proud.
Bogart says what makes his work so relatable is that everyone is thinking the same thing. He just puts it into words.
As a writer, when you're doing something like this, you're thinking the same things that other people, everybody thinks. There's nothing unusual about it. The only thing is put it into words in a way that other people can relate to.
For City Cable 3, I'm Margaret Sharp.
Grounded is available through local publisher Donegal Books. You can visit them at donegalbooks.com. The recent earthquake in Haiti has not been making headlines lately, but the need for help is even greater than before. And overcrowded orphanages have been hit the hardest. One local school has reached out to these children and found they share more similarities than they realized. Reporter Margaret Sharp explains.
Students at Fern Elementary School didn't see the recent Haiti disaster as a world away. They saw it as an opportunity to help.
My students came in the very next day and were just horrified by what they had seen on TV, all of the children and all of the wreckage.
After seeing the devastation, they thought about the kids in Haiti just like them, in the middle of it all. So the teachers contacted a Haitian orphanage and got a list of items the kids need, and then students started collecting.
They come in and they're like, Misty, I brought baby shampoos, or I brought toothpaste or toothbrushes, and they are very excited about it, and they've been wanting to do it so badly. It was their idea. That's how it all came about.
These little bags are one way that students at Fern are doing their part to help Haiti.
Each child had a baggie and went down the line of items, baby lotion, shampoo, power bars, ended with a little stuffed animal, which I think was the most fun for them because they thought, you know, if they were a little kid, and wouldn't it be cool to have a stuffed animal?
Along with the care items, students included personal letters to the children who would receive their bags.
They introduced themselves, and then after that, in the second paragraph, they talked about how they wished that they were warm and safe, and they hoped they enjoy the letter.
What I wanted for them, like I wanted them to have a loving family, and hopefully they get what they need, and they get all the care they need.
It felt good because they had an earthquake and everything the buildings fell down and they didn't have really homes and everything.
The fundraiser has not only raised goods, but also raised awareness in these students by helping to connect them to other kids who are just like them.
It has shown them that it's not all about us, and that there's other, kids out there and people out there who need help and are less fortunate.
For City Cable 3, I'm Margaret Sharp.
Fern Elementary made over 500 care packages for Haiti's orphans. The bags are being sent to donation organizers in Colorado, then will be routed to the orphanage, God's Little Angels, just outside Port-au-Prince. Well, coming up, we'll introduce you to a U.S. ambassador who's still in middle school. But first, here's a look at the current temperature outside.